Vai toma toma, vai toma toma, vai toma.
Hi guys! Welcome back to Books and I'm Mikkel. I'm a little sick, so you might hear I sound a little funny, but we're gonna bear with it. So this is late, but we're gonna do my November book review. In November, I read 10 books, probably a little bit more, but when I was going back through trying to remember, I only did 10. My goal this year is to keep better track of what I read. But out of the 10 books, I'm only going to talk about 3 books because I'm not going to waste your guys' time to talk about books that I kind of just read just to finish it, or I read but it was not something I would recommend. Does that make sense? Sometimes I read things just because I like to read, and I enjoy. There's been times I've read books simply because I wanted to know the answer to a question, and then once I get that question, I don't continue the series. Sometimes I read books to get answers to my questions, and then I'm just like, well, that was a big letdown. So, the 3 books in November that I read, and I think you guys would like, is Happy Place by Emily Henry. I give this one a 5 stars, and it's also Goodreads' most read book of 2023. Children of the Fallen Gods. This is book 2 of the War of Lost Hearts by Carissa Broadbent. I mentioned this in my October that I read the first one. I went ahead and read the second one. I gave this one a 4 stars. And then my favorite one that I've even like, sometimes I still think back to it and has made me, I would even say, expand my horizon, would be the Devolution by Max Books. I gave this 5 stars. I've listened to this one through audio, so it might be different if you read it. The other 2 I read on my Kindle and on my phone, so it's different. If you love books like as much as I do, you know how you read it, how you consume it, changes your perspective on it. So let's talk about Happy Place. Happy Place, I liked the book and the idea that it made me so frustrated and so angry, and had me really like reflecting over the characters. So in that sense, that is why it was a 5 star. It invoked huge feelings, mainly anger, disappointment, and annoyance, but it made me feel something. And I did sit there and root for the characters to get over their stupid mindset and to talk. I was invested. So for me, that made this a very good book. My mom's the one who recommended it. And so after reading it, me and her talked for at least about an hour just talking about our thoughts about how we were different from the characters, but how we can understand how certain things could happen, and how there are people in our lives who are very similar to the characters. So we can understand, or we can. This was a story that like you could understand how the events happened, and they were realistic. Obviously, it's a case by case scenario, but you do have people who go into the world, are not good at communicating their feelings, or they feel a certain pressure because maybe they're the firstborn, or they're a son, or they're the smart one and they have to be good. It makes sense how people get from A to Z because it's a story, but it's a story most people are familiar with. You have characters that could be your best friend, or a cousin, or even your mom and maybe you are one of the characters. These are characters that you could see, that you could easily walk up to and probably have a conversation. And they all seem like they were really good people, and people I wouldn't mind being friends with. But I also understand that there are moments where I'd be like, as a friend, I'd be like, I will beat you up because you're being ridiculous. Speak, communicate. So because of that, as you just heard, phenomenal book. It made me have feelings. It made me reassess myself to make sure I'm not ending up like these characters. That obviously I did like them as people, but I wouldn't. A lot of them I would not want to be in a romantic relationship with because they're just not it. But please go out and read it. I really liked it. Always support the authors and stuff like that. And it's a lots of people have read it. So obviously, what's her name? Emily Henry. You're doing a great job. It's next to you. Children of the Fallen Gods Book 2. This was a roller coaster. It only got 4 stars only because I feel like I wouldn't have took the characters a certain way, which that's my opinion. The amazing thing about reading books is that it is subjective to who's reading, So you may not agree with my opinion, but that's okay. You don't have to agree with it. But I haven't read the third book, but I'm so interested to read it and to figure out how these characters are going to grow. I also don't like how it ended. There's just some things about it that it seems almost, it's not really that it's cliche, but it's almost like I'm disappointed that that's the way the author took it, and that's why it's up forward. And it's mainly with the secondary female character that we have in there, who's also a strong woman, and I like strong women, but it's almost like this person is a very naive character. And with them being people who have been in war or have been a slave and stuff like that, I feel like some of these characters, there's a big naivety that they all have that makes it almost sometimes takes me out of the book. Because I'm like, I don't even sure there is someone like that, but at the same time, I'm like, they can't be like this. Like, come on. No, this is kind of like a very stupid teenager mistake. And you guys are adults who have survived a war, in at least that character since the female character I'm talking about. And you made a bad decision, and yet you're still having that same mindset. Like, come on. So that kind of took me out of the book. So that's why it got 4 stars. Still very good. The world, the character building, the character growth, the writing, phenomenal. I'm excited to read book 3 to see if there's going to be any redemption or if this character's like going to end dead. I'm interested. And then my favorite. Oh my gosh. This book was a masterpiece. This is the Devolution by Max Books. You might have heard of him if you watched the movie War Z, and has Brad Pitt as the male lead that we're following in the movie. Not the book. And it's like, that's World Z. I am actually going to try to read it for 2023. So, and that brings me to like, it has expanded my horizons. I'm a scaredy cat. I have mentioned that quite often on this channel. I don't do scary things. Max Books does horror and thriller. I like thriller. That's the thing. I do like thriller. I do like suspense. I don't like horror. And while what I personally would not say Devolution was horror, it actually, when I think back on it, kind of was, because there were moments where I was like, I don't want to go to sleep because I might die from Sasquatch. I know, funny, but that just tells you it was so well written. You start following this character who, at least in my opinion, I could not stand. Very selfish, very conceited, very annoying, and you just hear as she narrates, and you see the world through her eyes. And then ever so often, you get taken out, and you get to hear the interview of her brother because she's missing, and then you're hearing news, and here's the thing, Max Book did an amazing job of sprinkling in real life events. So there are moments when you're reading the book, you're like, is this a real story? Is this a government conspiracy? Did they cover up the Sasquatches? Mind you, he does a phenomenal job bringing in some hints of reality, and the way it's written, it makes you think that this could be real life events happening, and maybe we just don't know. And then the reason why I say I love this book is it's probably going to go down as one of my all-time favorites overall. Like generally, if you ever ask me for a book recommendation, and you tell me you like horror and thrillers, this will be my pick for you. It will be automatic Max Books, Devolution, phenomenal. You'll love it. Just like if you ever ask me a fantasy book, probably anything Sarah J. Maas is. I'll be like, author Sarah J. Maas. Enough said. That's one of my recommendations. Like, so this is gonna be something I just have in my back pocket and be like, here you go. You're welcome. It's a gift from me to you with love. So enjoy. This book was phenomenal. It had me grasping on when the character is in danger. It had me gasping like I had been in a fight. It had me in the middle of the night when I'm trying to fly to go to my sister's wedding at the time. I was yelling, yeah, when they won one of the battles. It had me going through it enough that I hit a point where I could not stop. That being said, before we hit kind of those parts, there were moments where I'm like, I don't know if I want to continue this book because it is a little dry, a little boring. But that literally sets it up for success. That was the thing that I admired the most. I was like, I don't want this book. If it doesn't get better within the next chapter, I'm putting this down because I don't want to hear about everyday life. I don't want to hear about someone who's just a wimpy thing who can't take care of herself. And there was like a flip. Character growth just shot through the roof and rapid pace, which makes sense because they were in extreme circumstances, and the heartbreak that came when we lost certain characters. I can go on and on about this book. I loved it. I thought it was phenomenal. The narrators, because it was like a cast of people, they did a phenomenal job. Just like snaps, claps, woos for me. Go read this book. I also down in the description I have put links if you would like to get one of these 3 books and read it yourself. For the Children of Fallen Gods, that is a Kindle Unlimited. That's how I read it. That's the subscription service. You pay like $14 or something like that every month, and you get unlimited books that you can kind of rent in return. So that's one of those. If you're already a subscriber for that, it's one of those. You could just go click on it, rent it, read it, and then return it. Happy Place, I rented that from my library, technically, my job's library. And then Devolution, I listened to it, and then I bought it. Because that was also on my job's library, and then it was so good, I went and bought it. So now I'm a proud owner of this book. So the links for the books, like if you want to go get like your own hard copy or paper copy, is down in the description. Those are affiliate links. Are also attached if you want to join the Kindle Unlimited. That is not an affiliate link. That is just something that I use. That if you would like to try it, you can. They have lots of books on there. Are all the books like best-selling authors? No. Are some of them? Yes. Do I recommend it? Yes. If you're an avid reader and you want to kind of cut back on spending, this is how it is. Is it going to be always the new and upcoming ones? No. But it is a very good subscription service. I really like it. I enjoy it. Tell me if you have read any of these books, which one was your favorite? Or out of my description of them, which one would you like to read yourself? Let me know. Comment down below. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And remember, everything you do on my channel really does matter. Thank you for watching.